DeCosta did it again, ladies and gentlemen. What is that it? Well, he had a phenomenal draft, okay? And I'm not the only one saying that, okay? I can promise you that, because on today's show, we're going to hear from a former NFL GM. He loved Baltimore's draft. And we're also going to hear from some NFL scouts. They weigh in on a couple of different Baltimore Ravens picks. We're going to break that all down for you guys right here on the Ravens Rundown. Make sure you guys stick around, because I promise you, after this video, if you didn't already love the draft, you will love it, okay? I swear. Before we get into that, though, our May sub battle has been an awesome one so far with the Chiefs report. They currently are beating us by just one sub, though, okay? We got a lot of time left in this month. I want to make this a big push, okay? Pass them, get that lead back, run up the score a little bit, because I cannot be behind the Kansas City Chiefs report. I just can't do it, okay? Need you guys to help me out. This is for everybody who has not subscribed yet. If you have not subbed, this is the perfect time to do so. Let's bury the Chiefs, put them in the dirt. Let's get first place in this May sub battle. So former general manager Mike Mayock was on the Rich Eisen show, and he was asked about the draft. He was asked about the draft just as a whole, and then he decided to talk a lot about the Baltimore Ravens. Who is Mike Mayock, you ask? Well, great question. He's a former draft analyst for the NFL Network, and then he served as the general manager of the Las Vegas Raiders from 2019 to 2021. He drafted Josh Jacobs, Max Crosby, Cleveland Ferrell, Nate Hobbs, and also Hunter Renfrow. So this is a guy who's had some pretty good draft picks in his time as general manager, and he spoke a lot about the Baltimore Ravens. Here's how he started it off. He said, I respect the hell out of teams that know who they are. You've heard me talk about the Baltimore Ravens forever, and it's for a reason. When Ozzie Newsome was there, they knew who they were, and they knew how they were going to draft. Eric DeCosta was in the building with him all those years, and nothing's changed. If the board dictates it, they'll move up. They're not afraid to move up. If they have a chance to move down and the board dictates it, they'll move down. But if the board's fall in their way, they have the patience to stick and pick. And that's just what Eric DeCosta has been so phenomenal at, right? And he said he was in the room, he was with Ozzie Newsome, and I think a lot of that was just him soaking up all that wisdom, not only how to run a team, but mainly how to be patient in the draft, stay where you are, and get the most dart throws at a board. I know we all heard Eric DeCosta speak a couple of weeks ago on the Lounge podcast about the NFL draft and his strategy, and it's worked. If you look back at the first-round picks for Baltimore, since 2018, they've been phenomenal. No other team in the National Football League has been able to do quite what they've been able to do. Hayden Hurst, Lamar Jackson, 2018. Marquise Hollywood Brown, Patrick Queen, Rashad Bateman, Odafe Oweh. Then you had the 2022 draft, the most legendary one with Kyle Hamilton and Tyler Linderbaum. Then you got Zay Flowers in 2023, Nate Wiggins in 2024. And of those in that list, 50% of them are Pro Bowlers. Half are Pro Bowlers. 90% are starters. This is where DeCosta excels. We shouldn't be surprised by this anymore, because he shows us this year in and year out, and this draft was no different. You get two top 15 talents in the first two selections. You get a guy in Emory Jones that a lot of people are incredibly high on. Teddy Buchanan, the athletic linebacker. He's going to give a guy like Trenton Simpson a run for his money in the starting position. And then you got a nice little tackle insurance, who at some point they believe might be able to step up and replace Ronnie Stanley when that contract is over. Bilal Kone, the cornerback out of Michigan, he shows a lot of really great promise. Tyler Loop is now your kicker, starting kicker, that is. LeJonte Wester, he's going to be a beast in the return game, has a chance to do really great things with the ball in his hands, and then ended it out with a couple of sixth-rounders, a seventh-rounder. The best three-pick run, in my opinion, for the entire draft was Aeneas Peebles, Robert Longerbeam, and Garrett Dellinger. The players you got at that value was phenomenal, okay? Of those 11 picks, I want you to let me know which one was your favorite. And I don't want you to say Mike Green and Malaki Starks, okay? Third round through the seventh, you let me know which one was your favorite. I want to hear from you guys in the comment section down below. So Mike Mayock did not just stop there, okay? He went into the selections a little bit more in depth, which I love, because if there's one thing that I like to pride myself on is I think I know my way around a draft board. I love doing the draft analysis right here at Chat Sports. But I know that these guys who at one point were general managers, were one point NFL draft analysts for the NFL Network, they know it probably a little bit better than I do, and it's great to see that we both agree. Here's what he said about Malaki Starks. At 27, they get Malaki Starks from Georgia, who smells like a Raven. And I knew from October that he was going to be a Raven. He's got an edge about him. He loves ball. He can play nickel and safety. Mike Green, they get him at number 59, and I had him at number 15 to Atlanta. Well, Mike, you and I are very similar in that sense because I had both those guys as a lot better ranked prospects in the picks at which they went. Malaki Starks, he was at the top 18. Mike Green, I had him at a top 15 prospect. Chris Sims just said yesterday in a podcast that he could have seen Mike Green going at 10 overall, and you got him at 59. Those are two guys who will start 17 games in year one. That's not speaking at hyperbole, okay? I genuinely believe that, especially with a guy like Malaki, okay? I would almost use the G word and guarantee it that he'll be starting 17 games in 2025. Mike did not stop there, though, okay? He went on, talked about a guy who I haven't been as high on, but apparently he is. Let's talk about Emory Jones. And you got Emory Jones sitting right there, third round, number 91. If he doesn't start this year because he's got some developmental components to his game, I think he's going to start the next 8 to 10 years at right tackle for the Ravens. He called him an 8 to 10 year starter for the Baltimore Ravens. Now, it was a little surprising to me because I'd be shocked if they have him play right tackle. Not because I don't think Emory Jones can do it, though. We saw him do it in college at a pretty high level. But because we saw a guy named Roger Rosengarten do it at a high level already in the National Football League. Look what he's able to do against J.J. Watt in the final two matchups of the season. He had 22 and 23 pass rush snaps, only pressured in those 45 combined 7 times, 0 sacks, 0 quarterback hits, and at an average pass rushing grade of about a 57 or 58. And then he goes up against maybe the best edge rusher in the National Football League. 56 total snaps for Garrett. He had an overall grade of 59.5. That was a season low. He had a pass rush grade at 52.1. That was a season low. He had 2 tackles, 0 sacks, 0 quarterback hits, and 4 pressures. So back to Emery Jones. I still see him as a guard eventually. But regardless, Mike Mayock believes that he's an 8-year starter in the National Football League. A guy you got in the 3rd round. That's some pretty high praise right there. I need you guys to make the call for me, though. Which position will Jones play on the O-line? Is it going to be guard or is it going to be tackle? Let me know in the comments section down below by giving me a G or T. Don't go anywhere because we got a lot still coming up. Let's hear from some NFL scouts in just a little bit. They talked about the first 2 selections for the Baltimore Ravens. But speaking of that first selection, Malaki Starks, if you are a fan of him, if you are a fan of the Baltimore Ravens, if you want his sweet jersey, you can go right now to chatsports.com/Sharks and snag one, okay? They're not going to add that one on. They're going to have his number 24. It's going to be awesome. Looks clean, feels good. We all know Fanatics has the best jerseys that money could buy. And chatsports.com/Sharks is where you need to go to get yours, okay? Also, helps out the channel. Helps us improve our graphics, hire new people, grow the company, support us right here at the Ravens Rundown by heading to chatsports.com/Sharks. Snag your jersey, and of course, that link will be in the comment section and in the description of today's video. All right, let's talk about some scouts, what they had to say. And we're going to start with the 27th overall selection, Mr. Malaki Starks. Here's what an NFL scout had to say on him. The do-all safety has been a major player in Georgia's secondary since he was a freshman and looks to take his vast array of abilities to the NFL. Starks is a Swiss Army knife that would be a real weapon with a creative defensive coordinator. When you look at Bleacher Report, scouting report on Malaki Starks prior to the NFL draft. They graded him out as an 8.9. His overall rank was 4. Bleacher reported him as the 4th best player in the NFL draft. His positional rank, the best safety in the draft, and his pro comp was just a shorter Jesse Bates. Hell, I'll take that any day of the week, especially when you line him up right next to a guy named Kyle Hamilton. Let's talk about Mike Green, okay? Here's what the scouts had to say about him. Additionally, the Marshall product takes efficient pass to the quarterback by using good angles, impressive bend, and dropping his pads down to corner at the top of the rush. He also has great closing speed and a good motor to get coverage sacks. This dude can do just about anything. And Bleacher Report was just as high on Mike Green as they were on Malaki Starks. Had an 8.1 grade overall, the 16th overall ranked player, the second best edge of the class just behind Abdul Carter, who went number 3 overall, and his pro comp was a shorter Leonard Floyd. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm expecting even better than that from our man Mike Green. Righty? Baltimore crushed this draft. Eric DeCosta crushed this draft. And a ton of people agree. Let's wrap this up where we started with a little quote from Mike Mayock. So look at that group of guys, and as you go down, there are guys like even in the 6th round, like Longer being from Rutgers, Peebles, the underside DT from Virginia Tech. I mean, that's a Ravens draft. I love that. And that's what made this draft so special, is they didn't just hit in the first 3 rounds, where it's, I don't want to say easy to hit, but it's easier to hit. They hit late too. Their final 3 selections, like I said on the top of the video, were the 3 best selections in the draft, in my opinion. Baltimore crushed it. DeCosta crushed it. He did it again, ladies and gentlemen. And it's not just me saying it. Take it from a former NFL GM as well. We're going to get on out of here. Appreciate you guys for watching today's video. If you have not yet, join us right now by subscribing.